I grew up on the Texas-Mexico border, and so there were always these two worlds. And from one side, you know, I was like not American enough from the Mexican side. I was not Mexican enough from the American side. So this tension between diverse perspectives has been with me since I was a very small child. Also with me has been this sense of stubbornness, which is I don't want to give up who I am, what I do, how I do things. And I don't want to just adopt other ways that may or may not be authentic to me. And I thought there has to be a way to move beyond just it's this way or that way. There has to be a way beyond even both and, because both and I compare to separate but equal in the segregation study. It's like side by side, but the two never really integrate, you know, they're just side by side. And I wanted to find a different way. So that was a huge piece of it. And the other piece was, as someone that has lived cultural diversity, you know, most of my life, people kept talking about, this is the knowledge you need to have about this group, about that group. And I thought that's not enough because no individual actually fits.
Always fits.
All those behaviors that we define for different groups. We really have to get in touch with the individual, with who that person is, not just the set of qualities that we think they have because of their ethnicity or their cultural background.
Most workshops and training address an awareness level about other cultures. This is what you need to know about this culture to work with these people. It's about other. It's about you and them. And once you know about them, you'll be able to be more successful. And we have found through our years of research and training that it's not about knowledge. It's about learning about the others and respecting the other individual's life experience from their perspective. So skilled dialogue really moves past and is deeper and wider in scope than an awareness. It moves into application in the utilization of strategies and dispositions to really building relationships, to take the best of both and to come up with options for more positive interactions.
Going back to the earlier question, one of the differences with skilled dialogue is that it really aims at what we call a paradigm shift. It aims at moving people from an either-or perspective into even beyond a both-and perspective, moving them into what we call a paradox, which is where two things that are totally different can actually work together and complement each other. And so it transforms interaction by transforming the way we approach it and the process that we use to get to where we want to go. We don't focus on problem solving. We really focus on a mind shift, if you want to call it that looks beyond the diversity to the connections, but still retains the diversity as you go through it. Within special ed and early childhood special ed, we tend to focus on cultural diversity and not on culture per se. Cultural diversity or attention to culture becomes important when there is diversity present.
Not always.
But not always. And we don't acknowledge culture as a dynamic that is always present. Rob Corso and I did a review of Lit a while back. And cultural diversity is addressed when that is the topic of the article or the research. But when the topic of the article or the research is motor development or it's social emotional intelligence, culture is sometimes not mentioned at all. And so I'd like to see that gap sort of close and have the recognition that culture is an integral part of everybody, as are differences. The other piece is that sometimes we tend to think that the only differences we really need to pay respect to are those that are culturally rooted. You know, if you're someone who's always late for an appointment, but I know you come from a culture that treats time differently, I will tend to respect that. But if I identify you as sort of a non-diverse person, someone just like me, and you're late for every appointment, I will tend to get offended, I will tend to get upset, I will tend to try to change you if I'm in that position. And all of a sudden, those differences somehow don't matter as much.
Respected because
Right, because
on a different level.
yeah. So I'd like to see cultural diversity not become just a special case, but become just part of everything that we do.